Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
And welcome along to Indiana Sports Beat on this 16th day of January. Appreciate you joining us. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Jim Coyle sitting in with you as always. Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief's box.
That's right.
Keeping us spinning as he always does.
That's right again.
Like the man behind the curtain on The Wizard of Oz.
I'll take it. I've been worse things.
A lot of action last night on the basketball court. A lot of things to get to today on the program. Todd Jadlow, former Hoosier. Talked to Todd Jadlow, Indiana Hoosier from 1985 to 89, was a member of the 87 National Championship team. Matt Weaver, also from Peaks.com, will come along. We're going to see if we can get any closer to getting news about the offensive coordinator position at Indiana. Before we get to that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your headlines for this Wednesday, January 16th, 2019. Former IU goalkeeper Trey Muse signed a pro contract with the MLS's Seattle Sounders. Former IU running back Morgan Ellison is transferring to Independence Community College. Independence Community College is the school on the popular Netflix series Last Chance U. And in the lone Big Ten game last night, Purdue defeated Rutgers 89-54. Those are your headlines for this January 16th, 2019.
Last Chance U, baby.
Got a little more interesting.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday. Posted that. You know, he's not the first Hoosier to play on Last Chance U.
Nope.
Is it just one? Is just Cammy and Patrick the only one?
No, I thought the guy, isn't he in jail for murder?
No, well, he was
second-degree murder. It was the guy he was always running around with at Indiana. I believe he went to there as well, to East Mississippi.
I thought there was another one. I couldn't remember. I watched that first two seasons, I think.
Yeah.
Now they moved. They were at East Mississippi Community College, and now they've moved to Independence Community College in Kansas.
Why'd they move?
You know, that's a tough deal, I think, having those cameras, because those are real football programs.
Yeah. I know
that's not scripted. I mean, I'm sure that they that's a real thing. So they're running a football program. That's got to be hard with those cameras around. And 2 years is probably about all you can do. But also, I would also say that you don't want your subjects to get comfortable with the cameras.
Sure.
Because then it becomes something different.
Yeah, I know the coach at East Mississippi, he really struggled with going back and watching the first season and how much he cussed in it. So I think it really took a toll on him and trying to watch his mouth around the cameras, and just he didn't want to look like the person he saw.
Which is a good thing.
Right.
But it also takes away from what you're going to see.
That too.
The lady on there, I can't remember her name. Hawkins. Kind of cute.
Oh,
she was the that one.
What do you call those people?
Academic advisor.
There you go. Yeah.
She left and started her own company doing pretty much what she was doing there.
Interesting.
But, it'll be – but there was a lot of – watching that show, man, guys from all over the place. Florida State, Penn State, Texas Tech. They're from everywhere. And they're trying to get somewhere. You know, they're trying to get either to the NFL or back to a Division I program. As a matter of fact, there's one guy that I can't remember his name. I remember he went through Last Chance U and was kind of a model citizen. He'd come from Texas Tech. He begged Coach Cliff Kingsbury to let him return the following season, and he did. Led the team in tackles.
How about that?
Not a bad deal. Todd Jadlow on the show today. That's going to be exciting. Looking forward to that. Former Hoosier from back in the late 80s, 85 through 89, was a member of the 87 championship team. He also has a book that's been out for a while, though. Jadlow on the Rebound, written with Tom Brew. Tom's been on the show as well. He caught some flack over that book.
Did he?
Yeah, because, oh my God, he told the truth about stuff that happens that goes on. People don't want to hear that. Oh, no, God, Bob Knight cussed at you. They don't want to hear that. But there was a lot more than that. I'm not trying to make light of it.
Can't
But,
ruin the whole book. Got to prompt people to buy it.
Well, it's been out for quite a while. This is not. But just, it's not. This is not about Knight. This is about Todd. Todd's life. Todd Jadlow's life. He's went through a lot. I mean, he has several personal issues he had to deal with. This has been quite some time now, so this is nothing recent. But he dealt with drugs and alcohol in jail. A lot of things.
Fought through some stuff.
Absolutely. Hit us up on the text line. Any quotes, comments about anything? Comments for or questions for Todd or Matt Weaver's on the show today. Of course, the text line, 812-269-6367. Let us know what your thoughts are. But Morgan Ellison, that I didn't even think of that until I saw that. And I'm like, well, there you go. That makes sense.
One other transfer to note, did you see Notre Dame quarterback Brandon Wimbush is transferring to UCF?
I did, and I find that very
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too.
I'm like, roll on, UCF. Keep it going. They are trying to be for real, man. Trey Muse, I saw that yesterday. I'm like, man, hey, is Indiana going to have a soccer team?
I'm starting to wonder that.
I'm not kidding. How many guys have we seen that signed contracts off of this team?
So many.
5?
I know 2 have signed contracts in the MLS, and then Gutman signed a contract with Celtic over in Europe. And then there was 2 other guys in the draft that didn't get drafted, but they're probably going to sign a contract.
Guarantee they'll get signed.
Yeah.
So what's that, 6?
That would be 5 right there. Well, no, it would be 6 because Trey Muse wasn't in the draft. He got a homegrown player contract. So,
dude, how many players are on the pitch at 11?
11. There's 6.
There's
six starters
team.
are gone. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yep. And a reliable goalie. I mean,
reliable. A little bit more than reliable.
Okay.
Most decorated goalie in the last 2 seasons, I think.
So getting a guy in to replace him is going to be tough.
Yeah, man. You just went from an well, not just him. You had All-Americans. He's an All-American. I mean, ooh, man, you talk about having to reload. That's repack.
Something tells me they'll be just fine.
Usually are. They usually are. College basketball action last night. In the Big Ten, there was just, one game? You said the Purdue game?
Yeah, Purdue-Rutgers. Very anticlimactic.
Yeah, and a big win for that game. At the half, I think that game was 40-30. And, man, did Rutgers scored 14 points after half.
No, 24.
You're right, 24. My bad. I can't add or subtract. But Purdue scored 49. I can do that. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Because they scored 49 points in the second half. That's 5 points less than Rutgers scored in the game.
That's 2 points less than Indiana scored for their entire game versus Nebraska.
Saturday's not looking good right now. Purdue was not playing well for a while. They had a stretch, but now they picking it up. When you've got you got a player like Carson Edwards who has been there for him every game. I think there was one game that they were able to shut him down, but other than that, he is leading the way. I caught some of the broadcasts, and they were talking about Carson Edwards he has confidence in his supporting cast.
That's not good.
Well, it's good for them. It's not good for other people. Because it was Carson Edwards and that was it. Now he's getting some help. That is not good. Because that's the problem that Indiana's having. They're not getting help. Yeah. It's Romeo Juwan, and that's it. A lot of action on social media right now. in Hoosier Nation. We're going to be talking about that today. I think it's time to pump the brakes a little bit, folks. I mean, everybody's frustrated and pissed off with good reason. They stunk the joint up the other night. Terrible. No effort. Ridiculous. Sad. Uncomprehendable. I can't comprehend how you cannot come out ready to play. I'm still trying to wrap my hands around that. No, I did not play Division I basketball, but I don't think it matters. Like most American males, I played sports my entire life. Different sports, different levels. But it didn't matter. I don't ever recall not being up to do whatever it was I was getting ready to compete in. The sheer thrill, the thought of the competition is what did it. From a competitive standpoint. I want to win. That's why I'm there. I'm there to compete. I want to win. I don't care if I'm pissed off. I don't care what else is going on. I want to win. Losing's only going to make me madder.
Well, and that's the thing. Whatever else is going on shouldn't matter. I mean, when it comes time to play, it's time to play. That should be your sole focus. And I think.
But what is going on? That's what I want to know. What the hell they got to worry about?
Well, and I think the issue has become for Indiana fans, and I've seen the frustration grow. The fact that this has become a growing trend. The slow starts. It seems like almost night in and night out. It seems like guys don't want to be there, and that's become quite the issue, I think.
And how can that be the case? Again, that's
right.
what I'm. If you don't, well, that's not. I don't think it's that they don't want to be there. That is the appearance.
Yeah.
Agree. I don't think that's the issue. I don't know what the issue is, though, because, again, I can't comprehend not wanting to play, not wanting to win. I don't understand that. Hit us up with comments on that issue, 812-269-6367. We've got a lot to get to today. Doug listening down under in Australia.
Hello, Doug.
Thank you, mate. We got a lot more to come, and Todd Jadlow's on the show today, Matt Weaver. Hit us up. Text line 812-269-6367. Indiana Sports Speed back right after this. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, and you know what that means. Chronic Hoosiers along for the ride. Sir, how are you today?
Oh, I've had better mornings, I'd say.
I bet. Little, that game last night will leave you with the red ass.
I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot of basketball in Assembly Hall over the years, and I cannot for the life of me remember the last time I saw a team as capable as this one is. And I think it's important that we got to contextualize a couple of things here. This is a team that's got a lottery pick on it. This is a team that's got at least one first 10, if not 2 first 10 All Big Ten players. I wouldn't be surprised to see Juwan perhaps slip to second team. Nevertheless, though, you got some high-level talent on this team. Some really high-level talent on this team that's got a lot to play for in front of it. And to see a performance so listless, so limp, so lifeless, just so pathetic out of the gates, understanding as well where this team is in its schedule, having just dropped 2 games to open up the meat of the Big Ten schedule, if you will, dropping a winnable game at Maryland, to come home and put on a performance like they did right off the tip is just, it's unacceptable in so many different ways. You can't defend it. You can't excuse it away. This has obviously been a problem we've seen for some time with the starts, and we kind of saw the script flipped at Maryland where they came out like gangbusters and just fizzled late. But to so quickly revert back to their just inexcusable ways early on and basically put themselves out of contention in this game before they ever gave it a chance to get started. I don't know what's going on, but there is something that is not right with this team right now. And there's still a lot of basketball left to be played, but we're also getting to the point where now, at the midpoint, the Ides of January, these boys are going to have to figure it out. I know a lot of people are wringing their hands, and I heard a lot of comments about Archie last night. Putting all that aside for the time being, this has got to start with the players before anything's going to change. They're going to have to figure out what it is that's causing them to start off so poorly. They're going to have to figure out a way to correct it, and they're going to have to do it right quick. You got 4 of the next 5 on the road with stops at Mackey, Welsh Ryan. You get to go to Breslin. You get to go to Chrysler. This could get ugly in a hurry for Indiana if these boys don't decide to find some pride from within whenever they put that jersey on and start playing like it.
Yeah, it's we were kind of talking about that a minute ago. I don't get it. One thing I don't get is in the post-game press conference, and it reminded me of a point last year where they had been playing really, really bad, and they come out and they play worse. And the response was, well, we didn't come out ready to play. And that was one of the things I heard last night. And I would love at one point to be able to stop and go, well, stop, and stand up and go, how in the hell can you not be ready to play? This is what, the 17th game of the year. You guys have been practicing for months. You've lost 2 in a row. You're at home. You got to get something by. How can you not be ready to play? How is that an acceptable excuse by anybody?
Well, it's not, and that's the thing, is there is no excuse for that type of performance. And, I'm not a huge fan of those 6:30 tip-offs. It's always a very late arriving crowd, but I think that also ignores the fact that there was a hell of a crowd that ultimately showed up last night. There were people still filling into my row at the last media time out of the first half. The student section was pretty much packed all the way to the top of the main level. With a sizable portion of the balcony. It wasn't for lack of energy in the hall.
No, I was shocked because right at the start of the game, I'm looking around from my media seat. I'm like, are the students back in school yet? And somebody said, yeah. I'm like, all right. But yeah, it filled right in. So it wasn't from a crowd standpoint. But, boy, you watched it on the court, and you're like, hey, did somebody not tell the team to show up tonight because I don't see them out there?
Well, I think that's one of the big problems is there ain't a whole lot of a team that's showing up on any given night right now. When you look at the way in which things were spread around last night, guards that were not named Romeo went combined to go 2 for 10 from the floor, 1 for 5 from the charity stripe, 6 points, 4 assists, and 4 turnovers in 82 minutes. Big men not named Jawan went 4 for 12 from the floor, 2 for 5 from the line, combined for 10 points, 6 boards, 4 turnovers in 49 minutes. There's just nothing out there that is giving any reliable, consistent contribution beyond Juwan and Romeo, and it's making this team just too easy to guard, to defend, and to scheme against when you're only realistically having to look at 2, competent or at least realistic threats on the offensive end. And, more than anything, though, and Arch has said it, and it's pretty clear this is a defensive team, at least as far as how it's going to compete, what its identity is going to be based off of, and we're just not seeing enough of that early on. And that was the thing I think that was probably most frustrating, is after they jumped out to an early lead, I think they went up 7-0 just in the bat of an eye, to see guys jogging back on defense. There are certain things that I can understand. I understand the limitations that a lot of these guys have. I understand the talent level as a whole that Archie had inherited and where this roster is comprised of. I understand the injuries they've been faced with. There's a lot of adversity. There's a lot of things that are less than ideal right now. But what is never going to be negotiable for me, whether it be home or on the road, is effort. And to see them come out and put forth such a poor effort, I can't remember exactly where it was, somewhere still in the first 10 minutes. At one point, my 9-year-old son looked over at me and asked what's the biggest loss IU's ever had, if I thought we were heading that way. And to have that die cast that early in the game and to have it that apparent to an untrained 9-year-old eye, it just made me sick to my stomach. And it's a feeling that to this point today, I still have not been able to shake. And again, there's a lot of things that you can at least explain away, but there will never be an excuse for the type of effort that this team put forth defensively to start the game, because for all their shortcomings on the offensive end of the floor, their willingness to engage on the defensive end to really go out there and compete, that cannot be negotiable. The way this team is constructed, there was a point where I just assumed seeing them put all the walk-ons on and find some boys that are willing to run up and down the floor and dig in and get low on defense, because we didn't see a lot of that early. And not surprisingly, they found themselves once again at that first quarter mark, 10 minutes into it, they were in a 16-point hole. And they got close early in the second half, but I mean, realistically, they never threatened from that point forward. And I don't understand how that happens in this. I don't understand how it happens anywhere when you play for Indiana University. I will, for the life of me, never understand how the hell that happens at Assembly Hall. It's just, it's not acceptable.
No, and not at all. And then Travis from Charlestown texted and asking, why does not Rob Phinisee shoot more? I know he's a point guard, and his job is not to score, but his job is to not score either. He only took 3 shots last night. I know he's working back from that injury, but I think he needs to score a little bit more, and maybe it's just him working back from that injury. But they've got to have, because last night the third option was Clifton Moore. God bless his soul.
No, and honestly, you know, I had a very long conversation on the way home as we were sitting in traffic, trying to figure out
in your helicopter.
With
I thought you took your helicopter.
That blew my mind too, man. I thought that we were on Dunn heading towards the bypass, and this helicopter was coming in low. It was hard to tell where he was going. He ended up in that church parking lot there in the corner. But there's some baller in the hall last night. You know, when you're getting airlifted in and out of the hall, my favorite comment, that was Indiana's offense being evac'd out of the state. Perhaps so. I'm not exactly sure. But no, I was trying to understand what was up with Clifton's minutes. Because honestly, I thought for a second there we were going to be witness to the Clifton Moore coming out party. I thought he gave some extremely capable minutes in a short time. I'd given him the start in the second half, the way that he finished that first. You know, for whatever reason, Archie didn't see it, but there wasn't a whole lot of contribution from other bigs beyond Juwan. Justin Smith kind of spun his wheels for a decent amount. It appears that Deron Davis is still playing through some pain. He's not moving nearly as well as we saw him, just a month ago. Evan Fitzner continues to be just a non-contributor in every way, shape, or form right now. It's problematic, and for a team that when we're kind of appraising the situation early on, coming out of hysteria, coming out of the exhibition games, this was a team that looked to have a lot of depth, a lot of length, and a lot of speed, and we're not seeing a whole lot of any of that right now. Quite the contrary. They look very undersized as we're getting into some of these Big Ten matchups. They don't seem to have very much speed at all, at least none that they're being able to leverage to their advantage. And the depth is virtually non-existent across the board once you get outside that starting five. Even down the starting five, for that matter, as far as contributors, they're not getting nearly enough from the guys who have to be contributing to this team right now. Because, again, if they're just, if they're two-faceted, if it's just going to be the Juwan and Romeo show, even teams like Rutgers, even teams that on paper shouldn't be able to really match up, it ain't hard to play 5 against 2, man. It's just not. It's time for some guys to step up and figure out exactly what this is going to be. And I think offensively, I understand that there's a lot of issues that are playing into Archie's rotation right now. Not the least of which, though, is it's got to show some composition in the way that the ball is moving. You know, when you look at the 3-point percentages, under 15% it's just almost incomprehensible how a team can be that bad. But then when you really break it down and you look at where those shots are coming from, those aren't really drawn up within the offense a lot of times. They seem to be coming as a last-ditch effort because they can't get what they want, just to kick it back outside, pass it around, maybe do a weave, and then somebody's going to take a shot that's not really in the flow of the offense. So it's not unsurprising that those aren't particularly effective because that ain't what they're trying to do right now.
No, I don't know that they even have a lot of offense per se other than Romeo trying to get to the rack, and if that doesn't work, is anybody open? That's one of the things I've been wondering about. They don't seem to be organized in that regard. Maybe I'm off a little bit on that. Romeo does what he does very effectively, don't get me wrong. But the rest of the team doesn't. I don't know that they're getting into an offensive flow because Romeo is so good at what he does, but that does not really work with the other parts of the team as far as them scoring.
No, and, as you're watching the offense, right now we're seeing a lot of just wasted motion for the sake of being in motion. I would love to have an intern who could track the effectiveness of our screening. How many times you guys see they do the pass off at the top of the key, the high elbows, and how many guys they go out there and they set, how often they fail to even draw contact, they don't create separation. It's like they're just literally going through the motion in the literal and figurative sense. It's mind-boggling to me how ineffective it is, and yet they continue just to run these cycles where nothing's really happening. And I understand that oftentimes you may have to take 6, 7, 8 steps to get the ball where you want it to go, but there's just not a lot of purpose to it right now. It's listless, is probably the best way to describe it. And so that's going to have to change here real soon because, like I said, with the stretch they have coming up, this season could be in the tank really, really quickly if they don't figure some stuff out.
Four out of the next 5 on the road, and that starts with Saturday at Purdue, and the home game is against Michigan.
Yep.
That's the stretch that they have to look at. All right, here's a question. 2 years in a row, we see guys not really elevating their game. Most of the guys, you got Romeo and Juwan, of course, but everyone else not really developing. 2 years in a row, see this team start making a lot of the same mistakes they made before. There was last night's defensive lapses were as bad as they've had this season, but questions about Archie have to start coming in a little bit. This team playing like this, I remember this happening again last year. You got to ask the question: is Archie doing what he needs to be doing as a coach?
It remains to be seen. And there was a tweet from a columnist up in Indianapolis last night that certainly got a lot of people's hairs up.
Well, he's not liked by too many people, I don't think, anyway.
I understand, and it is a pretty barbed and pointed comment. Bob Kravitz, as we were talking about, discussing Archie's endless honeymoon, I believe was his phrasing there. And I don't know that was necessarily on point. I thought he missed the mark a little bit there. Obviously we're a season and a half into the Archie Miller era at Indiana. One thing that I think is important to remember, again, being real objective here, realistically speaking, Archie, well, he certainly didn't inherit anything remotely close to the roster that Tom Crean did. Tom Crean was just trying to find warm bodies to come fill up those jerseys to start. Archie was not in that position. That being said as well, Archie certainly wasn't given the benefit of a fairly well-comprised roster. He had a lot of hodgepodge pieces that were designed for a different system. I don't have a problem at this point continuing to give him a pass, in as much as we continue to see development, in as much as we continue to see a continuation of some effort to define an identity. And thus far, at least up until the last 2 weeks or so, we'd seen a pretty clear emphasis on this team being a defensive first team, and I'm okay with that. That being said, though, there has been a pretty significant regression in the last couple of weeks. This is a tough spot right now because, again, I think it's fair to say that Archie's not going to get nearly as much leash as Tom did as far as people's patience. I do think it's unfair to really judge him too critically at this point without giving him a chance to better comprise a roster of his own liking, of his own making. This is a team that's going to need some pretty strong guards, period, not just this one specifically, but I think in order to play for Archie Miller, that team's going to have to be a guard-led team. That's just the way he is. That's how he played. That's how he was coached. That's how he wants to coach. I do think there's some promise there. I also think there's some liabilities, I love Al Durham. I think the kid he's just a heck of a kid. I think he gives pretty solid effort night in, night out. At the end of the day, too, though, we're just not seeing that much production-wise from him. Devontae Green continues to be the modern incarnation of Troy Williams. I think I described it against the Maryland game. The boy's chasing the dragon. He is constantly out there.
1 for 6 last night.
It's tough. It's going to be tough for a team to function when with pieces that are as problematic as those two can be, and as far as their limitations, their liabilities, what they bring to the table. I do think Rob Tennessee is going to work out to be a really strong guard for the Hoosiers, but I also understand you got a lot of guys who are playing probably ahead of what their cycle should have been naturally in a normal roster rotation.
And don't let it be forgotten that the losing Jerome Hunter, that's a blow to this team because he would have been contributing. He's a great player.
I think it is important to take a look at the overall injury situation. I mean, Jerome Hunter, probably the best freshman on this team outside of Romeo Langford, would have provided extremely important depth in the post. But you know what? Deron Davis as well. His re-aggravation, his injuries, it's not a re-aggravation, it's a new injury, whatever's holding him down. I mean, Zach McRoberts looks like a walking corpse out there right now. By all accounts, that kid would not be playing any other year before his last, understanding how shackled this team is due to injury. You know, God bless him, he's out there getting 3 steals. The guy can hardly stand up straight. I mean, I don't know if you pay attention when he comes off the bench. He's like me. After working 65 hours in a week on Friday night, I get out of that recliner after a couple of whiskeys, and I can barely stand up myself. That's Zach McRoberts coming off the bench fresh right now.
Well, Al Durham goes out last night. He missed the entire second half because of an injury.
Yeah. This is Bill Murphy commented on it last night. One of the foremost IU historians. This is perhaps the most injury-plagued team in Indiana history. And again, I'm not making excuses. It just is what it is. You look at the way in which guard injuries early in the season really kept these guys from getting together, all 4 of them, and then figuring out, what their roles are going to be and who's going to fill what in what situations. Again, and not making excuses, it just is what it is. And right now, it has produced some frustrating basketball at this point in the season. But like I said, man, there's still a lot of ball to be played. I mean, on the post-game radio last night, Fish and Eric Sewell were discussing the lack of confidence in this game, the loss of confidence from a loss like this at home. I don't disagree with that one bit, but at the end of the day, too, there's a tremendous opportunity to go up to West Lafayette and get every bit of that back. Now, I think that could be a bellwether game for what's to come here, at least as the month finishes out. How does this team respond in the most hostile environment it's going to face against one of Indiana's rivals when you got a lot of youth that's never experienced this before? How do they respond in the face of this type of adversity? Because it's just stacking up on them now, and that can be crippling for a young team. Big chance. There's also a lot of risk in it because you go up there and get run out the gym by your rival, and like I said, man, it can get ugly real quick here for the Hoosiers.
Absolutely. Chronic Hoosier, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you, brother.
Always. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. Thanks to Chronic Hoosier, as always, joining us. Brought to us by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. For over 30 years, Reynolds Family Dentistry has been taking care of the Southern Indiana's dental needs. Let doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg, Indiana Sports Beat. We're back after this. Stay tuned. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. This hour of Indiana Sports Beat is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. With hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Jim Coyle sitting in with you. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going. We appreciate you taking us, Indiana Sports Beat, along for the ride. Justin Kalen, I top the crew chief's box.
That's right.
Boy. Just looking, waiting.
I wasn't expecting it.
Hope your day's off. Hit us up on the text line. Any quotes, comments, questions? 812-269-6367. On the program today, Todd Jadlow, former Hoosier from the late 80s, 85 through 89, member of the 87 National Championship team. Also wrote a book a while back, Jadlow on the Rebounds. Matt Weaver's on the show today as well from Peegs.com. We'll talk a little Indiana football. Where are we on getting an offensive coordinator?
Doesn't seem any closer.
Well, you know why. There's so many out there that Indiana's sucking behind the tit. I mean, they're going to get what the leftovers. They're going to get what other people don't want.
Usually do.
It's true. That's that's the hierarchy. Georgia and Kentucky on the hardwood last night. Looked like it was such a great game.
The whole first half was phenomenal.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
Who was?
I was going to say for like 10 minutes. It was like a really good game.
Georgia was within 4 at half.
Yeah, but you could kind of tell. But I'll give you the first half.
I won't go past that because Kentucky came out ready to play in the second.
Next thing you know, boom, it's a 20-point game. And away it goes. And Tom Crean can't match what he had done against Calipari while he was at Indiana. I think he was, 2-1 against Calipari while at IU?
That's all they played 3 times?
I think so.
No, because they played 3 times.
No, that's not true. That's not true. He won 2 out of the last 3 times they played.
Correct. Yeah, because they were still playing every year at that point.
Correct.
And I'll never forget that first time that he played him with John Wall. And
I was there.
Ugh.
I was there with Rick Van Hoos. And
remember Maurice Creek dropped 31?
You bet. Mo Creek been on the show.
That's right. Friend of the show.
Absolutely.
Tim T texted in the show. He asked, do you think Marshall's training of the players could be contributing to some of the injuries we are having? McRoberts, Davis, Hunter.
You know, that crossed my mind, I'll say. But only because looking for something. But it doesn't make sense because it should be the opposite.
Sure.
Getting them in the most incredible shape of their lives to where they can withstand this stuff. But nothing you do can protect you from a brain injury. Those injuries just freak. I mean, Rob Finney catches a knee, scrambling for a ball. It happens. They're not wearing protective gear. It happens. Race Thompson wasn't there, but it must have been one hell of a collision. I mean, he's got a – I'm tired of calling it a concussion. It's a traumatic brain injury that he's trying to recover from.
What about the guys that aren't dealing with head injuries? The Davises, the McRoberts.
Well,
the
Davis,
Hunters.
to me, is just a lingering deal from his previous. It seems like he's just never gotten better now. Zach McRoberts, that's his back. Again, man, they should be stronger.
Yeah.
Everything.
And it's kind of unfair to speculate like that when it comes to Cliff Marshall. But, I mean, like you said, it's to the point now where –
that doesn't make sense, though.
Where
It
you're
should be the opposite of that.
Right. I mean, but we're at the point now where it's confusing, and we're trying to find anything we can to figure out what's going on.
Well, I mean, in the post-game press conference, Archie's asked – he basically says why these guys are not ready to play because I don't know. Well, it's his job to know. It's his job to make sure they are ready. These guys weren't drafted. They're not being they're not being held in servitude. This is an option. It's an opportunity that they get. But it's quid pro quo. It's give and get. You give the effort, you get the stuff that goes with it. So, but it's his job to know. So it's okay to question Archie Miller. It's okay to question the coach. There's so much stuff on social media right now. But so many people are just unbelievable knee-jerk reactions. I think that's being a little ridiculous. I mean, I think it's okay to be pissed off because that's not what we saw the other night. Not acceptable. In no uncertain terms, not acceptable. And it's not because they lost. It's how they lost because they did not give hardly an effort at all. You had 17,000 people take their time to show up. It seemed like it was all that the basketball team could do to make it to Assembly Hall.
Right. You could at least have 10 of them show up.
You sure think. But it's okay to question that. But it's the people that goes nuts. But then you got the so-called self-appointed keepers of the gate who you're not allowed to criticize anything. And if you criticize, you're not a fan, which I just I laugh at those people. I'm like, okay, who the hell are they? They're making the rules now?
Right.
You have to have criticism, legitimate criticism, because if you don't, then you have a free reign. You have to. It's called checks and balances, i.e. Bob Knight. No one can be in control. No one is beyond reproach. No one is without question. That doesn't mean you have the right to go off either and be ridiculous. You can have your opinion, but I think Indiana fans need to pump the brakes on social media a little bit.
Well, and I've seen a lot of ridiculousness. That's a good word to describe a lot of the tweets I've seen the past couple of days. I've seen a couple calling for his head. I mean, the dude's 18 months into his job. I agree. Pump the brakes. Let's settle down. It's a bad
more than
loss.
ridiculous. He still does not have his players in there. He's got one round of his players, really. Romeo Finney. He doesn't have Jerome Hunter, the second best player that he recruited. Anderson's not playing. Forrester's not playing. So we're not seeing his stuff yet. His principles. Defensive. Offensive, I'm going to give him a break on the offense just because it's, again, not his players, but.
And you mentioned it yesterday. Archie is typically in his coaching career, he's went with the heavy guard lineups, and he's not able to do that with this team.
Well, and then you add the fact, the injuries. I'm tired of talking about them, but facts are facts. De'Ron Davis will never be De'Ron Davis again, I don't think. Jerome Hunter, not having him, hurting a lot. Race Thompson, not having that body, hurting a lot, obviously. There's no one there to push Justin Smith. Who is competing with Justin Smith?
Well, Clifton Moore now.
There you go. I mean, that's. But what does that tell you? What does that say about the state of the roster right now? Zach McRoberts, you get nothing. I mean, I'm not. But you can only expect to get from them what they're able to give. You should not expect him to be a 4-star. He's not. Evan Fitzner faded out. He's just not been giving what was expected. He's a career 42 3-point shooter, 42%, and just not doing it in this system. Maybe the system's not a fit for him. But whose fault is that, again, I ask? Who recruited him? Now, I'm not saying it's his fault, but I'm just saying that's a flop. That one's not working.
Maybe it will.
Well, we'll certainly find out.
I mean, at this point, what do you need from Evan Fitzner?
Hit a couple shots.
Yeah, that's it.
Do what you're supposed to be able to do so well. Just hit some shots. Now, one thing I don't understand, why is Demezy Anderson, especially against a 1-3-1 zone that just gave Indiana fits beyond belief, why do you not put in a known shooter? Just a question. Why not? Why not run him in there? Try to let him put up a couple.
I don't know why Demezy's not getting more time as it is. I mean,
I do not. Obviously, there's a reason, and I don't know what it is.
If you look at the production he can provide versus, say, a Zach McRoberts. Now, yeah, Zach McRoberts probably a little better defensively. He's going to go after more hustle plays, but Demezy's going to hit more shots. You would think. You can't hit any less.
You would think, and now we're getting to the point to where I'm like, and I was there against Nebraska, and that's why I'm really confused. What do you got to lose?
Yeah.
You were getting your ass kicked. You're getting your ass kicked by a zone defense that you needed shooters to bust. Why not? What? I don't get it. Just curious. But it's okay to ask those questions. But you ask them as a question, not as a defiant statement of fact, which I'm not making. I'm curious as to why. I'm assuming there's a reason on why you wouldn't bring a pretty decent shooter onto the floor against a zone defense that is kicking your ass. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure there is.
Archie was actually asked about the 1-3 zone after the game on Monday night. Tried to do the best explanation he can. Let's see what he had to say.
They play it almost every game, and if you're not ready to handle it, or you're not able to to be able to penetrate it or get it inside, you're going to play around the perimeter. And we were reluctant to attack the paint with the ball. We had a hard time feeding it inside the paint, and I thought Romeo may have driven it a few times and got fouled, but without question, there's a little curveball there. But we knew it was coming. They play it every game, and when you play against that type of defense, there you got to break its shape. You have to have some guys willing to take that ball and just go right at it. Get to the paint and make somebody better. And we're very reluctant against it. And their length is good, and again, it's something that they do every day, so they're pretty good at it.
Okay. Knew it was coming. So this wasn't a surprise. Know what you're going to be up against. I would think you would have all scenarios ready to go. This is what the game plan is going to be. Now, if that doesn't work for whatever, we're going to go do this. And if for some reason that doesn't work, then we're going to do that. It doesn't seem like that's the case. Seems like here's what we're going to do. Oh, heck, what happened? This is not working. What are we going to do? Okay, so they knew about it coming in. Now halftime's come and gone. Hey, we're getting destroyed here. Maybe we need to make it. No, I guess not. Let's just keep doing the same thing. Again, I'm just curious. Why? Why not try something different? Step outside of the box. Hey, I got an idea. Hey, isn't that Demezy Anderson kid? Isn't he known for shooting? Why don't we try to stick him in? I'm just curious.
Who knows what would have happened? Could have hit 4 threes, got Indiana back in that ball
And
game.
he may have done nothing.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that it's the answer.
I get your point, though. Give it a shot. Especially in a game like that, you have nothing to lose. Go for it.
Especially in a game like that, because that's what you may need.
Yeah.
It may be the only opportunity you have to do something. Joker texted in. Oh, man, where did he start, Joker?
Let's break and figure it out during break.
Okay, that sounds good. We'll be back after this. We've got Todd Jadlow on the show today. Matt Weaver from Pigs.com will be along as well. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. We'll get to them right after this. Indiana Sports Beat returns. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Welcome into Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Hope your day's off to a great start. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat with you, Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief's box, as always.
That's right.
Thank you as well. Hope you're off to a good one. Got a great program for you as always. Todd Jadlow's on the show today, former Hoosier from 1985 through 89, a member of the 87 National Championship team, co-author of the book Jadlow on the Rebound. Also on Matt Weaver from Pigs.com. We'll try to find out what's going on in the world of IU football with the offensive coordinator search. A lot of action last night on the hardwood. Before we get to all that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your Daily Hoosier headlines on this January 16th, 2019. Former Indiana goalkeeper Trey Muse signed a pro contract with the MLS's Seattle Sounders. Former IU running back Morgan Ellison is transferring to Independence Community College. Independence Community College is the school on the popular Netflix series Last Chance U. And in the lone Big Ten game last night, Purdue defeats Rutgers 89-54. And Indiana women's basketball takes on Northwestern tonight at Assembly Hall at 7 o'clock. Those are your headlines, the Daily Hoosier headlines, on this January 16th, 2019.
Thanks a lot, Justin. As I said, Todd Jadlow's on the show today. Make sure you can hit us up on the text line. Any comments, quotes, or questions, 812-269-6367. A lot being said on social media in regards to IU basketball. A lot of frustration after the home loss to Nebraska a few nights ago. Their third in a row, Indiana, after starting so well. And a little bit of a tailspin. Of course, they're in the midst of a tough part of the Big Ten season, which is tougher than normal. A home loss, the way they played, it wasn't acceptable, though. I understand the frustration, but I think the fans are getting a little over exuberant in that regard. And to bolster that, Johnny Ballgame texts in, this is a tweet from a while back, but this is from a guy you may have heard of. Patience is not something a lot of fans have, Knight said. But this kid, Miller, is going to do a good job. Why? Because he can coach. Most of the coaches I've known can't coach. You folks are going to appreciate him, but it ain't going to happen in a year. Unquote, Bob Knight. That was Knight's thoughts on Archie Miller. I think that's been, a year now?
Yeah.
When that actually was said. But he does not have his own players, guys. He's got a completely different system than the predecessor, Tom Crean, who lost last night to Kentucky. But Archie's defensive system, well, they didn't have a defensive system before. They didn't play defense. So, and not only that, this is not just a man-to-man defense where you just say, hey, guard that guy. That's not it. There are just tons of switches and this and that to learn and all kinds. These guys, the freshmen, they're still learning. Romeo, as great as he is, and he is great, still learning the game. He came from a great high school program. Jim Shannon's a great coach. Doesn't matter. He's still learning. Got more to learn. Every level you go up, you got more to learn.
And I think it's time that we reiterate that the defense that Archie Miller runs takes guys about a year to learn. So all the freshmen, like you said, yeah, they're still learning.
Well, not that. Again, he different style, different philosophy requires a different type of player. It's not better or worse, different. He's got one class of guys in there. He doesn't have his second best recruit gone for this year. He hasn't had half of his roster that he would normally use this year. And that's not an over-exaggeration. Dron Davis has been out. Fennessy's been out. Hunter's out. Thompson's out. Davis has been out. McRoberts has been out. Forrester's been out. Am I missing anybody?
You haven't said the whole team yet, so yeah, probably.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
For a myriad of reasons.
And then I don't know if you said him or not, but Al Durham, who knows about him?
Al Durham went out the other night. Add him to the list. How many guys did I just mention? 8?
That's 8, yeah.
He only goes about 9 deep. His entire roster almost has been affected. Kind of hard to get something going when you can't get going.
Yeah.
Now, different subject from their starts, which have been horrific, and totally different from the effort they gave against Nebraska. Obviously, Archie doesn't know where that came from. I don't know where it came from. I don't understand it. I can't grasp it. But they've got to get a handle on what they're doing regardless. Understand they've got all these injuries? Well, you're going to have to step up anyway. And stepping up is what they're not getting from other guys. I'm not even going to name people. Specifically, it doesn't even matter anymore.
I'll tell you what, let's let Juwan name them. Because he talked about it in the post game the other night about how Indiana's virtually getting no help from its bench.
I think it's just a confidence thing. For Cliff and guys like Jake, I always tell him my story from like my freshman year. Like whenever I didn't play much, but whenever I got in, you just have to be ready. You have to be ready to make the big play, regardless of what that is. Cliff got in and gave us some really good minutes, and I think he's just really come along. Just as a defender, as a rebounder, and just being confident in himself. And I think you saw a little bit of it tonight. And I think going forward, he's going to be huge for us.
Hopefully so. Juwan Morgan talking after the loss the other night. Johnny Ballgame texted, if and when Romeo leaves after the season, and if Indiana gets Keon Brooks along with Trace Jackson Davis, which team is better? This year's team or next year's team?
Whew. And that's Romeo leaves?
Well, of course he's leaving.
I'd venture to say next year's team, just because it's going to be a deeper team. You'll have more guys in the system that have an understanding of the system.
You would hope.
Yeah.
You would think. But even then, I still think they're still a year away. Those guys are going to be freshmen.
Yeah.
Good freshmen, but still freshmen.
Well, and the one thing about Trace Jackson Davis that really worries me, when he comes in, there's going to be nobody there for him to learn under. What is he going to learn under Clifton Moore? Is he going to learn under Jake Forrester, guys who hardly saw the floor?
Well, that's what...
So Trace Jackson Davis is going to have to come in just like Romeo and be the man right away, because he's going to be thrust into that starting lineup.
That's what Coach Ed's for.
It's true.
But they're not going to... Or is that going to be a situation much similar to the Indiana women's team this year, where last year they had Amanda Cahill and Tyra Buss. Tyra Buss, arguably the most decorated player in the women's program's history, all-time leading scorer and all that. She was the women's team Romeo last year.
That's a very good comparison.
I mean, she was the dominant. She was the ball was in her hand. They wanted the ball in her hand. She was the female equivalent to Romeo on their team last year. And that's the kind of team they had. This year, she's gone. Amanda Cahill's gone. Guess what? They're better. The team is better. The team is way more successful. They've lost, 2 games?
Yep.
They're ranked. They're competing in the Big Ten. Balanced attack. Maybe that's the case that happens next year to this team.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I mean, that's a key word when it comes to them, is balance, and I think that will be a key word when it comes to Indiana next year. They'll have more balance. The talent will be more spread out. Yeah, I mean, having two guys like Romeo and Jawan's fantastic because you know you can always lean on them whenever need be, but at the same time, you don't have that balance.
Johnny Ballgame also says if you're in New Albany, oh, yeah, this Saturday from 4 to 7, the American Legion on Paoli Pike, they got ranch burgers.
The hell's a ranch burger? A burger with ranch?
I think it's from the old ranch house days, but I'm sure he'll text in to explain that.
Please, because it sounds kind of awesome, but I need to know what it is first.
Do you really need to know?
I kind of do, yeah.
Why? Just go for it, you chicken.
I don't know. Could not mean ranch dressing.
Well, I'm sure that's part of it, but that's...
Well, that's what I'm saying. The ranch could not mean ranch dressing. Then I don't know if I'm in.
You can always put it on there if it wasn't. That's not the biggest... Indiana soccer being decimated. Not in a negative way, but just because they've got 5, 6 guys that have signed pro contracts. Man. How many?
6, yeah.
I thought you said 8. I'm like,
I said they go.
Trey Muse, the latest. They're all Big Ten goalie, All-American, man. Been in goal. They've been pretty solid in that position for a couple of years. Nothing to worry about. He gone. Many of the other names that you know. Who all has signed? Do you know? Do you have that in front of you? Gutman, I think.
I know Gutman signed with Celtic. Frankie Moore signed with the MLS team, or he was drafted by an MLS team. And then Corey Thomas didn't get drafted. I know was another one. But he's expected to sign a contract, and then drawing a blank on the last one.
Johnny Ballgame says, just man up and show up, Justin.
Might have to.
Yeah. But, yeah, they've been decimated. Number 25th ranked Indiana women's team at home tonight against Northwestern, speaking of the women's team. 7 o'clock game at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. Morgan Ellison, former IU running back, headed to Last Chance U.
Come on.
So that's next fall, which means we won't see that until 2020.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Seems like a long time away.
Yeah. Has the third season of that show come out?
I think so, yeah.
I have not seen that. I've not seen the first season at Independence Community College in Kansas.
I'm still working on the second season myself.
A lot going on in college football. Brandon Wimbush transferred from Notre Dame to UCF. Man, if they could get into the playoffs, he'd become the first football player to play for 2 different teams in the college football playoffs.
Be cool.
Be something. Ohio State, they got the quarterback from Georgia transferred. So Tate Martell is transferring from Ohio State. He's gone to Miami.
A lot of movement.
Yeah. But a lot going on. But we got a lot to get up to. Todd Jadlow's on the show today, former Hoosier from 85 to 89, member of the 87 National Championship program. We'll talk to him. Up next, we've got Matt Weaver from Pigs.com. Let's catch up on the football. Where is the deal going with the offensive coordinator? We'll find out right after this. Stay tuned. Sports Beat's back.
Don't believe me, just watch.
This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, and joined as promised from Peas.com, Matt Weaver. Matthew, how are you, brother?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys doing?
Great. All kinds of stuff going on in the world of college football, man. Everybody moving all over the place. Ohio State loses a quarterback to the draft. Then they gain one from Georgia. Then they lose one to Miami. It's all kinds of musical chairs going on.
Yeah, it's kind of become college football's version of free agency. This transfer portal, guys are moving all over the place, and at the quarterback position especially, as we've seen, because guys want to play and they don't want to wait, and so they're exploring their options.
Absolutely, and that's in a similar way, not the same, but carried over to the coaching world this year. I don't know if it's just because Indiana's in the market for an offensive coordinator, but it sure seems like a lot of action this year amongst coaches moving around.
Yeah, and I mean it's. Every year there's obviously turnover in coaching staffs and jobs opening and guys going from here to there. I think what's changed a little bit with the new early signing period is that schools are kind of motivated to try to get guys to make decisions on their coaches sooner. I saw a few schools that actually got rid of their coaches during the season. and but that early signing period, it's especially with most of the guys signing at that time, you really can't wait around until January if you know you're going to make a coaching change or like mid to late December, because it's too late to put together a recruiting class. So I think that's kind of sped up the process, and then after that, it's just kind of the dominoes keep kind of falling. They should start to slow down because we're getting closer to spring ball and guys will start being finalized. But there's still obviously some openings left, and including the one you mentioned, the OC position in Indiana.
Absolutely. A lot going on. Also, the NFL PA Bowl going on right now. I noticed Brandon Knight, a former Hoosier, coming up gimpy out of that game. Any other Hoosiers performing there?
I believe he's the only one. Nick Linder is down in I think they're down in Tampa for the East-West Shrine Bowl, and it looks like he's doing pretty well in the practices. And I think Delroy Baker's playing in the game, and I apologize, I can't remember the name of the game he's in. But those are the three guys right now that are playing. And then I think Dan Gotzel will be in the Senior Bowl, which is fantastic for him. So congrats to those guys, and hopefully Brandon's okay. Hopefully it was just a little bit of a mild or minor injury where he can come back and play and show teams, because he's getting some pub as a guy who could go in kind of the like that 5, 6, 7 round range in the draft. So it sounds like he's got a shot to get drafted and have a career in the NFL. And then
this talk about the coaches, I talked about them. Well, there's so many on the move right now. I actually thought that the OC position for Indiana would be filled by now, at least something getting closer, which I'm sure they are getting closer. There's a lot we probably don't know with the behind-the-scenes stuff, clearances and all that stuff. But are we any closer?
Yeah, I think they're getting closer. Is there a date in mind? I think they'd like to have it done, obviously, as soon as possible. But, like I said on our board, I know it's kind of cliche to say this, but it's better to get it done right than to get it done quickly. They're probably going to start having some recruits in this weekend, and you like to have your OC on campus, but it's not crucial to recruiting right now because the majority of your class is locked up. Obviously you got your quarterback. You're still trying to get a receiver, but you still should be able to sell the receiver on what your offense is going to look like. Even without an OC, because Tom Allen knows what he wants his offense to look like. So I think they're getting closer. But when that day will be, it's just hard to say. Maybe something happens this week. Maybe it's next week.
Earlier I mentioned that IU is not exactly going to be at the top of the list for a lot of these guys if there is a better job open. And then with so many job openings, I think that's put Indiana behind the 8 ball a little bit because they're not going to get the choice selection when you're going up against bigger name teams for obvious reasons. So that is to me is what's playing a bigger part into this is there are so many openings right now and other opportunities for people.
Yeah, that could be. Some of the schools that are open, obviously you had Miami open. I don't think Indiana was looking at the same guys that Miami was looking at. Trying to think what other OC jobs are out there. I think Kansas opened because their OC left to go take the Troy head coaching job. They might be in the same, pool of candidates. I haven't heard that, but everything I'm hearing is that Tom Allen is very pleased with the feedback he's gotten and the pool of candidates that he is that are interested in the job. I think one thing that helps Indiana as far as finding a candidate is whoever they bring in is going to have it's going to as Tom Allen described it, the head coach of the offense. So he's gonna be running that side of the ball. Now, obviously, there are, as we've seen, the reported thing with Matt Canada. There are some limits to that, and while I really liked Matt Canada, you can't let him have control of the offensive staff. That's too much power for an offensive coordinator, in my opinion. I wish it maybe could have worked out. Although I think the reports that it was actually offered to him are a bit inaccurate. I think they were talking about it, but I don't think it ever got to the offer stage. But, however it played out, you're still going to have a lot of freedom as an offensive coordinator in Indiana, and I think that would be appealing to a lot of guys.
Let me ask you this, and I understand, I agree with what you said in regards to how much control you can give up. But what if he signed a guaranteed 3-year contract for 3 years, guaranteed can't leave in 3 years? Do you give them that kind of control then to allow for continuity?
That definitely that changes it a little bit. Here's the problem I have with you letting an OC come in and basically turn over a staff of guys that you hired. You know, first of all, going forward, when let's say his 3-year deal's up, you know, and here's the thing: even if they sign a 3-year guaranteed deal, if a school wants to hire him as a head coach, they're going to pay that buyout. So that even though you have that 3-year guaranteed contract, there's still ways around that. But the problem you still have going forward is whenever he leaves, you hire the next OC. That OC is going to want the same. It just kind of it's a slippery slope, in my opinion. Because once you open that Pandora's box, it's pretty much open. So everybody you hire from here on out is going to want that same kind of power. And maybe the next guy you're not comfortable giving him that too. And it really, you know, you set a precedent that's going to be tough to kind of go back on. And secondly, who do the office's coaches report to? Who's their boss? That would be confusing to me. Is their boss the OC? Is their boss the head coach? Because if the OC is what to determine who got hired, then if I'm an offensive coach, that's who I report to. So to me, it gets real sticky when you now if there's openings on your staff, if you've got a couple positions open. I mean, this happened with Mike DeBoer. He had input in a couple positions. Now he didn't make the hires, but when he came in, they had a couple positions that came open after he was hired, and he had input. But ultimately, Tom Allen made a decision on who they brought in. And I think that's how it's got to be. I think the head coach has got to be in control of staffing because at the end of the day, it's his program and his, you know, rear end on the line if things go bad.
I agree. I understand it. What about Morgan Ellison heading off to Lance Chance U?
Yeah, hopefully it works out for Morgan. You know, JUCO life is you know it's a tough life, but he's a talented guy, and if he goes out there and you know toes the line and all that kind of stuff, I think he'll do great on the field. I'm not sure going to a place where stuff off the field is going to be put on TV is the best move for him, but you know, hopefully he does well and gets that next opportunity. It'll be interesting to see what school might take a chance on him. You know, obviously because of what happened in Indiana, but the talent's there, and if you feel like he's not going to be a disruption or a problem, you know, he's a guy that can definitely play Power 5 football. I mean, he's shown that. So, you know, good luck to him, and hopefully it works out there. And in 2020, he's at a D1 school somewhere.
Yeah, he's not the first Indiana player to make it onto Last Chance U. I know Camion Patrick played for East Mississippi. Was there one other?
Yeah, Juan Harris, actually, he was at Independence last year, and I believe I don't know when the season starts for that. I think it's upcoming. He'll be in, I think, some of the episodes is my understanding. So I don't know what exactly happens in the episodes, but I think he will be one of the players that you see in the episodes, because I think this past season they followed around that school, and it was I don't know if that was the first or second year of doing it. I can't remember, but he will be, whenever the next season comes out, I think Juan Harris will be kind of in some of those seasons, or in some of those episodes, I mean.
Yeah, I guess my first question, with all that Morgan Ellison went through, is going to a place where everything is being broadcast on TV a place that you really need to be?
Well, you know, Morgan's obviously a guy that, you know, he's very active on social media, and sometimes to his detriment, you know, on Instagram and obviously Twitter and I think even Snapchat. So, you know, now you're going to have to put a camera in front of him. He's definitely a guy that likes the spotlight. Nothing wrong with that, but sometimes, you know, let's be honest, we're dealing with young people. I mean, if somebody put a camera in my face when I was 19 years old, I would not come off looking great either. So, you know, these guys are put in positions probably before they're ready to be put in those positions, and sometimes the maturity level is not what it needs to be. Like a lot of us when we were that age. I mean, it's just the way it is. Sometimes people expect them to be professionals. They're not. They're kids. I mean, there's some kids playing college sports, and you know, they do things that, you know, I'm sure 5 years, 10 years down the road, they really wish they wouldn't have done and they regret. But it is what it is. Hopefully he'll kind of keep somewhat of a low profile, go out there, you know, grind and work and get himself back to where he wants to be.
Absolutely. Anything else going on in your world that the folks need to know about?
Well, like I said, recruiting starting this weekend. You know, I think there's going to be a few visitors coming in. One one that we do know about for sure, Cecil Powell, a DB out of South Florida, Piper High School down by Fort Lauderdale. He's currently committed to Baylor, but, very receptive and open to Indiana. He's, hearing from a few other schools, but Indiana's done a good job. Coach Casey Teagard, the safeties coach, is heading up that recruitment and doing a great job. And so, they want to get a safety in this class. They were only going to take one all along, and Cecil's a really good player. So, maybe they can get him to flip here pretty soon. Another guy who could be visiting, still trying to work on confirmation, but TJ Jones, a really good receiver out of the it's Lake City, Florida, kind of north central Florida, near, not too far from Tallahassee, actually. Good receiver, would be a really good. I mean, I know people are disappointed about David Bell, but this would be a nice consolation prize, just below a 4-star level, but a big-time player, and I think he might be coming in this weekend. I don't want to say that's set in stone, but I think there's a good chance of it. So, only a couple guys right now, but two really good gets if they could get them.
Absolutely, and Indiana's had a great. Obviously, it's well known they've had a great run in recruiting, and this only adds to continue to bolster that. And that's why I think it's very important on who they get that OC hired. But also, I think that now that January is hit, that I know that they would like to get it done as soon as possible for so many reasons. I mean, obviously for continuity, to get things going in that right direction, to get that offense implemented, because there's going to be changes, especially in vernacular and terminology, people using different styles and whatnot. But there's probably not going to be wholesale changes in the Indiana offense because the personnel is pretty much what it is. I think there's going to be subtle changes, but obviously they need to get those implemented as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Another interesting thing today, this afternoon we get Jack Tuttle for availability. So it's going to be interesting to hear from him and his experience in Indiana and I'm sure he's not going to say a lot about the OC position if he knows. I don't know how much he knows, but just what maybe it'd be interesting to see what he was told about it when they were recruiting him and he was going through the process, because obviously there were rumors all year that DeBoer could possibly. And for the last couple of years, there were those rumors because he basically retired from Tennessee 2 years ago, and Tom Allen kind of talked him out of it. So it'll be interesting to hear from Jack and how things are going for him in his first few weeks in Indiana, and just get to meet him. And I've heard he's a great kid, so it'll be fun to talk to him. So that's something to look forward to this afternoon.
You can find it at Peegs.com. Matt Weaver and complete coverage of Indiana football. Matt, thank you so much, brother.
Okay, appreciate it, guys. Take care.
You bet. You as well. Matt Weaver from Peegs.com. You can check out complete coverage there, brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg, serving the Hoosier family needs for over 30 years. Let Doctors Jay and Roger Reynolds take care of your family's needs. Reynolds Family Dentistry, Sellersburg. We're back with Todd Jadlow after this here on Indiana Sports Beat. Stay tuned. We're coming right back. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. 16th day of January, 2019. Goodness gracious. A lot of action last night on the hardwood. Tom Crean got a shot of Kentucky, which probably wish he didn't get. Exciting game for about 10 minutes. First half wasn't bad at all. Georgia was down about 4. Then, boom, boom, out go the lights. Ashton Hagens delivered the blow. Good player.
Looked good last night.
And then the ironic thing, of course, he originally committed to Georgia and wisely chose to play for a better team. But probably was not the greatest reunion for him last night, but he had a great game, and Kentucky blew Georgia away. Purdue also big game last night as they rolled over Rutgers. Big. Good game at half. It was 30-40. Of course, Rutgers would score 24 points the rest of the way, while Purdue scored about 40-something. I don't even see the final score in front of me, but it was a lot.
89-54, I think.
Yeah, they rolled in that second half. Not what Indiana needs to look forward to is their next opponent on the road in West Lafayette. They'll be taking on Carson Edwards and company in a game that it's taking on more significance for Indiana. It's always a circled in red game on the calendar. It's Purdue. It's your rival. It's on the road. It's tough, but you've lost 3 in a row right now. 2 of those you expected. You're Michigan and Maryland on the road games, but you lose at home to Nebraska. That throws a wrench into the deal, an unexpected twist that makes you stand up and notice because they're going through a portion of the schedule that is not getting easier. 4 out of their next 5 games are on the road And that one game that's not on the road is home against Michigan. So it's a crucial stretch that Indiana needs to somehow find a way to win 3 out of the 5. If they can do that, I think that's a successful run through that stretch. But if you don't, your season could take a drastic detour. Which is not what they need. Especially the fact that against Nebraska the other night, they had a lot of their, well, not a lot of, but Christian Lander was there. It's not the kind of performance you want to give in front of recruits that you're trying to land.
Or could the recruits see it as, well, they need me?
I'm sure that's the argument that's being pushed. And it's true, though. Again, we've talked about it ad nauseum. Most of these players are not Archie's players. He's got his one class that is his. And he doesn't have the second best recruit in that class. Lost him for the year to an injury. I think they're stacking up some talent. Next year when they do have Jerome Hunter back, you have Trace Jackson-Davis in the fold. They're probably going to have Keon Brooks as well. You're losing Romeo. You're losing Jawan. But we talked about this earlier. It's similar to the Indiana women's program, who had their most decorated player in the history of that program, Tyra Buss, leave after last year, and they get better. They're having one of the best seasons in the program's history right now. They're 2 losses. They're ranked. They're 1 loss in the Big Ten, I think 4-1, heading into tonight's home game against Northwestern. Does that happen next year? They lose Romeo and Jawan, similar to Tyra Buss and Amanda Cahill, but does this team get better next year as it becomes a more spread out type of offense, where the bulk of your production is not coming? It's not an 80-20 kind of a thing. They're getting 80% of their production from 20% of the players, which is exactly what the situation was with the women's team last year. And then this year it's more of a very, very divested offense, a very divested team.
Pay dividends.
Trying to get Todd Jadlow on the phone with us. He's scheduled to be on. And as sometimes happens, he probably overslept.
Easy to do. We're on pretty early.
Speak for yourself. It's all relative. But coming up tonight, a lot of games on the hardwood as well as college basketball continues to roll forward as the NFL starts to close down now. We've got, 2 games left in the NFL, the playoffs this weekend, but 2 games that I am looking forward to. The 2 most prolific offenses in the NFL are going up against each other, with the Rams and the Saints down in New Orleans. Thinking of the gator sausage that they sell at the Superdome. Man, they're so good.
Real good.
Then the Patriots and the Chiefs. Man, these ought to be both really good games.
I heard this question brought up yesterday, and I thought it was interesting. Who would you want to see solely based on quarterbacks? Would you want to see Breeze Mahomes, Breeze Brady, or Goff Mahomes, Goff Brady? Which is the most appealing to you in terms of just quarterbacks?
Breeze and Mahomes.
For what reasons?
I've already seen Goff and Mahomes. That's why. And I've seen all the Brady that I want to see.
Okay. So what's the least appealing out of those?
Brady.
And Goff?
Fill in the blank.
No Patriots.
No, not a Patriots fan. But I'd kind of like to see, something different.
A lot of people have said they want to see Drew Brees win his second one to etch his name in history books as one of the top quarterbacks of all time.
Well, I think he's already there. I mean,
He doesn't need another Super Bowl?
how many does Dan Marino have?
Do you have just one?
That's one more than he has. Is he one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the NFL?
Yeah.
He's got 0 Super Bowls. He only went to 1 Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, they always say that. Peyton Manning. He did end up with 2, but didn't look like it. But if he had not gotten that second Super Bowl with Denver, would he not have been one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL history? So, yeah, I don't think the Breeze needs to add another Super Bowl for that reason. It's a little surprising, though, when you see people like Dan Marino, who wasn't able to get a Super Bowl win, as prolific as that offense was. Mark Clayton, super duper receivers he had. What a prolific offense! And those guys were ahead of the curve. That was before there was those kind of prolific offenses.
Tim texts in the show. He says, not liking Todd Jadlow. He accused Knight of several abuse accusations.
Well, see, now, I was looking forward to talking about that, but why is that? After all that's gone on, are people really still shocked by this stuff? Do they just not think that it didn't happen? Guys, it's documented time and time again. It happened. I mean, so are they not allowed to talk about it? And in the book, he mentions that's not my intent. This book is not about Knight. It's not about that stuff. It's just that stuff happened. I'm talking about it. But there was many other things that was talked about. Yeah. But so if they can't talk about the things that really happened, so I guess that they don't believe that stuff happened. Because I assure you, I've talked to way too many people. Direct witnesses. Stuff happened. But I'm talking about stuff that I saw happen in my career, sports career. Now, it didn't get blown up. I'm talking about other coaches, stuff the coaches have done. Half the stuff was blown out of proportion, I will agree, but I'm not talking about by Todd, but Jadlow. But that stuff happened, man. I'm sorry, but I think some people still have Knight on such a pedestal that it's just sacrilege to mention him in any way that is not as a deity.
And why is that? Is that because he won national championships for Indiana? Is it because
it gave people an identity to hang on to? But what they didn't know at the time was that identity was tied to whatever the things that it took to get done. And now, this is not the only situation this happened, the only place that this stuff happened. I got news for you. I mean, go back and look at the Junction Boys. That's an old 30 for 30 on ESPN. That's about Paul Bear Bryant when he was a Texas A&M football coach. The training camp that he would have, they were legendary for being just torture chambers almost. Torture chambers. Unbelievable. That stuff gets forgotten about. You know, winning cures a lot of stuff, man. Winning makes people forget about a lot. Especially winning at that high of a level. It's addictive. It's euphoric, and it's almost like a drug for people. And then you take that away, now you got withdrawals.
Tim also says, I had stuff happen playing New Albany football, but it's just a pride thing, and it's left in the locker room.
I agree.
So maybe that's his issue coming out.
I agree with that to a degree. I understand that.
But then there's some things that are just so egregious, like the whole Bob Knight thing, that why should they stay behind closed doors?
Well, it was so widespread that, first of all, you're not going to keep that. I'm sorry. It went on for a long time. The thing is, if people knew what they don't know, That's what's staggering. It's what they don't know. And I agree that to a certain degree with Tim. I think that, yeah. But when it goes over the line, I think that you're released from that. When it happens repeatedly, it's not one person. We're not talking about one person here. And again, we're getting off the subject. That's not what that book was about. That was a sidebar in there. But that stuff
big sidebar.
That stuff happened. You can't ignore it. We'll get him. We'll get him on. The same thing that happened to AJ. I mean, he was on the next day. But that stuff happens, and if you ignore it, those that ignore history are doomed to repeat it. That's why those things can't be ignored. They continue. I mean, I'm not comparing the two in any way. It's just maybe a bad analogy, but all the stuff that went on in the Catholic Church, just ignore that like the Catholic Church did for so long? No, you can't ignore that stuff, or it will continue. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be just someone stealing money from a company. You going to ignore that? Nope. You don't ignore patterns of bad behavior or act like that they didn't exist. They did.
Tim says, on a better note, how about Andrew Luck going to the Pro Bowl?
Absolutely.
4th time, I think.
And you know what the best thing about that is? The extension of Captain Andrew Luck's tweets. That's the first thing I think of. We get to hear Captain Andrew Luck a little more. I mean, that's not...
That is not where I thought you were going with that.
Oh, that's the first thing that pops into my head. I miss him already.
Oh, it's hysterical.
If you don't follow Captain Andrew Luck on Twitter, you should. When I first started following him, he already had 250,000 followers, like 250,000. Now it's way over 400,000.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The dude is a monster. He's got T-shirts for sale, I noticed.
It's pretty incredible that a parody account can get that many followers.
We're approaching 500,000 now. You know he's got T-shirts out?
Let's get some.
On the front, one of them says, got squirrel oil. It's a pinned tweet. If you go to it, it's the first thing you see. But his last tweet, it is with heavy heart, dearest mother, it is with heavy heart that I inform you our campaign has ended. Our unit fell to the Chiefs on a snowy battlefield. While disappointed, I'm extremely proud of all our accomplishments week after week, day after day, fight after fight. I shall see you soon. Blah, blah. Andrew. Yeah, I guess we'll get to see him a little bit more as he is now making it to the Pro Bowl. Thanks, Tim. We appreciate you texting in. But this weekend, I'm looking forward to those games. Man, who are your picks, by the way? What do you think? You got the Saints home against the Rams.
I've got Saints Chiefs.
You know what? That's exactly what I see.
I'm going chalk, taking the 1 seeds.
Well, it's not. I'm not taking it for that. Saints are at home. Chiefs are at home. I think that the New England is susceptible away from New England.
Yeah.
If they're not at home, they are definitely susceptible.
Well, and that's the same thing with the Saints. That's why I'm taking them, because they are at home.
Yeah. And as good a year as the Rams have had, Drew Brees he's been flowing along. Not under the radar, but not making quite as much noise as maybe the Chiefs and the Rams.
Yep. We'll see. Should be a fun weekend.
We absolutely will. Thanks a lot for joining us. Tomorrow, it's Thursday. Dustin Doperak or DePirac. Say that again. Hopefully, we'll see if we can get Todd on tomorrow. Todd Jadlow was supposed to be with us today, but we'll make sure he just gets on here soon enough. We can talk about that, and we'll have that discussion. Well, that's a great question. I will certainly bring that up. But thanks a lot for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with more on Indiana Sports Beat. Have a great day. For Justin Kalen, I'm Jim Coyle, and I will see you on the radio.